It all started at a high-profile event where two legends from very different worlds unexpectedly crossed paths. Clint Eastwood, the iconic actor and filmmaker, and Mike Tyson, the legendary boxing champion. The room was buzzing with excitement as fans and media gathered, eager to witness this rare encounter. During a casual conversation that quickly caught everyone's attention, Mike Tyson made a remark that instantly shocked the audience. With a dismissive tone, he called Clint Eastwood just an actor. The comment seemed harmless at first, but for those who know the depth of Eastwood's career, it was nothing short of an insult. The audience gasped. How could Mike Tyson, a man known for his ferocity in the ring, so casually undermine one of Hollywood's most respected figures? The words hung in the air, charged with tension. Clint Eastwood, ever the cool and composed gentleman, didn't immediately respond. Instead, he took a moment, his calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the surprise rippling through the crowd. His expression was unreadable, making everyone lean in, waiting for what he might say next. As the seconds passed, it became clear this wasn't going to be just a simple rebuttal. Clint's silence was powerful, a quiet signal that he wasn't about to let the insult slide. The atmosphere in the room shifted. Cameras zoomed in, capturing every subtle expression. The audience was on the edge of their seats, sensing that something big was about to happen. What Clint Eastwood did next left everyone speechless. It was a moment of humility, wit, and undeniable power that completely turned the tables. This was just the beginning of an unforgettable encounter that would be talked about for years to come. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into how Clint Eastwood humiliated Mike Tyson for calling him just an actor. In the next part of this story, the room was still thick with tension after Mike Tyson's offhand remark. Calling Clint Eastwood just an actor wasn't merely a casual jab. It struck a nerve, especially given Eastwood's legendary career spanning decades not only as an actor, but as a director, producer, and cultural icon. Mike Tyson, known for his fiery temperament inside the ring, had underestimated Clint's calm, yet commanding presence outside of it. But Clint Eastwood was not one to react hastily or with anger. Instead, he showed the kind of poise that only a seasoned veteran could possess. For a moment, Clint simply looked at Mike. There was no immediate response, just a slow, deliberate silence that made the entire room hold its breath. The cameras zoomed in on Eastwood's face, capturing his piercing eyes and composed expression. Every single person watching could tell this was a man who was weighing his words carefully. Then, Clint Eastwood spoke, but not with aggression or defensiveness. His voice was calm, steady, and low, carrying the weight of decades of experience. "Mike," he said, "being an actor is much more than just pretending to be someone else. It's about telling stories that move people, that change perspectives." His words were subtle but packed with meaning. He wasn't attacking Tyson. Instead, he was educating, reminding the audience, and Tyson, that acting required immense skill, dedication, and artistry. Clint's tone was respectful but firm, showing that he refused to be belittled. Mike Tyson, sensing the shift in energy, tried to recover his footing. "Yeah, but I fight real fights," Tyson said with a hint of challenge. "I'm the real deal. People know me for my strength and my wins in the ring." Eastwood nodded slightly, acknowledging Tyson's achievements, but clearly signaling that the two were experts in very different fields. "And that's admirable," Clint replied. "You mastered your craft with discipline and heart. But telling stories through film, directing, producing, that's a different kind of mastery. It touches millions, sometimes in ways a punch never could." The crowd reacted to this calm, well-measured response. Many started nodding in agreement. Some whispered to each other, realizing just how deep Clint's point was. The idea that acting and filmmaking could wield such influence was becoming clear. Tyson paused, seemingly surprised by Clint's graceful handling of the insult. He wasn't used to being outmaneuvered by words, and the situation was clearly new territory for him. There was a flicker of respect in Tyson's eyes, but his pride still made it hard for him to back down completely. "I'm not saying your work isn't important," Mike added, his voice softer now. "I just think there's something more real about fighting. It's raw. It's physical. It's life or death." Clint smiled faintly. "That may be true. But what about the battles people fight inside themselves? The struggles we see and feel when watching a story unfold on screen? Those fights, though invisible, can be just as powerful." By this point, The atmosphere had transformed from one of confrontation to mutual recognition of each other's strengths. Clint Eastwood had deftly turned what could have been a heated exchange into a respectful dialogue. His calm, articulate defense wasn't just about protecting his legacy. It was about elevating the art of storytelling itself. The audience, now completely captivated, began to cheer quietly. They admired Clint's ability to keep his composure and to answer an insult not with anger, but with wisdom. It was a lesson in humility and strength that transcended the moment. Behind the scenes, some close to Tyson could see a rare moment of introspection on the boxer's face. The initial bravado was giving way to something softer, an acknowledgement that Clint Eastwood's accomplishments were indeed remarkable. But the conversation wasn't over. Clint's next move would seal the moment and truly humble Mike Tyson in a way no one expected. Stay tuned for Part 3, where Clint Eastwood's powerful comeback leaves the audience in awe and Mike Tyson speechless. The room was buzzing with anticipation after Clint Eastwood's calm, yet impactful response. Everyone was waiting to see how Mike Tyson would handle being challenged so gracefully by a man often underestimated by those unfamiliar with his true legacy. The tension in the air was palpable, a mix of excitement and suspense, as eyes darted between the two legends. Mike Tyson, never one to back down easily, decided to stand his ground. With his trademark intensity, Tyson began to defend his earlier statement. "Look, Clint," he said, leaning forward, his voice a mix of pride and determination. "I respect what you've done in film, no doubt. But I'm talking about real life. Real fights. What I do in the ring. It's raw, it's dangerous, it's about survival." He paused, scanning the room, making sure his words hit their mark. "People watch my fights because it's real. No scripts, no retakes. It's life or death. You can't fake that." His words drew a murmur of agreement from some in the crowd. After all, Tyson's career was legendary, one of the most feared and respected boxers in history. The physical and mental demands of his sport were undeniable. Clint Eastwood, listening patiently, nodded thoughtfully. "I hear you, Mike," he replied smoothly. "There's no doubt your sport takes courage and strength. But I'd argue that the fight isn't always with fists. Sometimes it's with the mind, with the heart." He paused, locking eyes with Tyson, who was watching him intently. In filmmaking and acting, we battle fears, insecurities, and the challenge of bringing a story alive in a way that moves people. Sometimes, those stories inspire change or give hope to millions. That's a kind of power that's different, but no less real. The crowd was hanging on Clint's every word. His voice was steady but carried an undeniable conviction. He was painting a picture of artistry as a battlefield of its own, a world where emotions and ideas were the weapons. Tyson, though visibly still fired up, took a breath and nodded slightly. It was clear Clint's words were making an impact. But Tyson wasn't finished. "But Clint," he said, his tone firm but more reflective, "acting, it's all pretend, right? It's not real. You don't actually live those moments." Clint smiled slightly, a knowing look crossing his face. "Pretend," he repeated softly. "That's what people think. But when done well, acting is about truth. It's about connecting with the audience on a human level, making them feel something real." He leaned in just a bit, adding, "Every great performance demands authenticity. It's not just pretending. It's embodying the essence of the character, the emotions, the struggle." The room grew quiet, the weight of Clint's words settling over everyone. This wasn't just a debate about professions anymore. It was a philosophical discussion about what it means to be genuine, to impact others, and to leave a lasting mark. Tyson seemed to appreciate this perspective, even if it was different from his own. "I get that," he admitted. "It takes guts to be vulnerable like that." Clint nodded. "Exactly. Vulnerability is strength. It's what makes stories unforgettable." Then, with a slight smirk, Clint added something that surprised the audience. "Mike, you might knock people out with your fists, but I knock them out with stories." The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. It was a perfect blend of humor and confidence, Clint's way of reminding everyone that impact comes in many forms. Tyson smiled, shaking his head in admiration. "All right, Clint. You got me there. But Clint, the energy in the room, his tone shifted from confrontation to camaraderie. It's all two masters of their craft. It's not real. Each with you don't actually live those moments. Finding mutual respect slightly, honest, a knowing look crossing his face. But the moment wasn't over yet. He repeated Clint Eastwood's softly. Next words would seal his comeback. But when done well, Tyson, acting the entire audience. It's about connecting with the room audience. Was still buzzing from the exchange between making them Clint feel Eastwood something real. And Mike Tyson. He leaned in. The just energy a bit, had shifted from tense confrontation to a charged atmosphere of respect. It's not just pretending. It's everyone was now waiting for Clint's next move. The emotions, sensing that the season icon had something grew even more impactful. The weight of Clint's words Clint Eastwood took a slow breath. His eyes wasn't just a debate about professions. He wasn't just here to defend himself. It was a philosophical discussion about what it means everyone why he was more than just an actor and to leave the weight of decades spent in front of Tyson and behind the camera this perspective. Every word, even if it was different from his own. He began softly. He admitted, "Mike, it takes guts to be vulnerable you bring to the ring." Clint nodded. Exactly. That strength. Vulnerability. There's nothing to compare it to. It's what makes his voice was unforgettable, measured, then yet commanding, with a slight smirk. But Clint added something that surprised the audience. There's a difference between being just an actor. You might knock people out with storyteller. But I knocked them out with stories. A director who shapes the crowd erupted in laughter the years and applause. I've worn many hats. It was a perfect not only acting but directing films that have won Oscars. Clint's way of reminding everyone that impact comes stories in many that forms. Challenge people's ideas and change the way they see the world. The crowd was captivated. Clint's voice carried the power of a man who had lived every word. This wasn't arrogance. It was quiet confidence earned through years of dedication. He went on, "Some of the greatest battles aren't fought with fists. They're fought with ideas, with art, with the courage to shine a light on truth. And that's what I've done throughout my career." Clint's gaze locked on Tyson for a moment, then widened to include the audience. "When you say I'm just an actor, I want you to remember that the movies I've made, the stories I've told, they've moved millions. They've inspired change, offered hope, and sometimes sparked conversation that led to better understanding." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "Directing," Clint added, "is about leadership, vision, and responsibility. It's about shaping a message that transcends entertainment. That's why people remember those films long after the credits roll." The crowd was now silent, hanging on every word. Clint Eastwood was dismantling the idea that acting was a lesser craft, and doing so with undeniable authority. Mike Tyson, for his part, looked thoughtful, perhaps even humbled. The boxer's usual bravado softened as Clint's message clearly resonated. He nodded slowly, acknowledging that this was a man whose legacy extended far beyond what many people realized. Then Clint delivered the knockout line. "I don't just act. I create worlds, challenge norms, and tell stories that endure. That's why I'm more than just an actor. I'm a filmmaker, a storyteller, and a man who's used his voice to make a difference." The audience erupted into applause, some rising to their feet in admiration. Cameras flashed as the crowd expressed their awe at Clint's eloquence and power. Mike Tyson raised his hand in a gesture of respect. "Clint," he said quietly, "I never realized how deep your impact is. You're a legend in your own right." Clint smiled warmly. "Thank you, Mike. And I've always respected your legacy in the ring." The moment was a powerful reminder that greatness comes in many forms, and that respect is earned through dedication, humility, and the courage to stand firm in your truth. As the applause died down, Clint Eastwood offered a final thought. Every fight, every story, every moment of courage, whether in the ring or on the screen, deserves honor. That night, two icons from vastly different worlds had bridged the gap between physical strength and artistic mastery, leaving the audience inspired and awestruck. The encounter wasn't just a victory for Clint Eastwood. It was a celebration of storytelling's power to change hearts and minds. And it was a lesson in grace and strength that would be remembered for years to come. After Clint Eastwood's powerful and eloquent comeback, the atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically. What began as a clash of titans had evolved into a moment of profound respect and reflection. The audience, once divided and unsure of what to expect, now erupted into applause that echoed throughout the venue. The applause wasn't just polite. It was genuine, filled with admiration for Clint's calm confidence and depth of wisdom. People rose to their feet, cheering, some wiping away tears as they realized this wasn't just a battle of words, but a celebration of two different kinds of greatness. Among the crowd were celebrities, journalists, and longtime fans who knew both men's legacies. Many expressed awe at how Clint Eastwood had handled the confrontation with such grace. He hadn't lashed out, nor had he been defensive. Instead, he had educated and inspired. Cameras flashed as reporters scrambled to capture the moment. Social media users began posting live reactions. Hashtags like hashtag Clint Eastwood Legend and hashtag Respect Eastwood started trending instantly. The moment was already becoming iconic. Mike Tyson, meanwhile, appeared visibly humbled. The usually brash and unshakable boxer seemed caught off guard by Clint's composed and articulate defense. His typical bravado was softened, replaced by a newfound appreciation for Clint's mastery, not just of film, but of the art of discourse and influence. Still, Tyson wasn't one to give up easily. He cleared his throat, taking a moment to regain his composure before addressing the crowd. "I've always respected Clint's work," he said sincerely. "Today, I learned there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. It's not just acting. It's storytelling, leadership, and courage. That takes real strength." His words drew cheers and applause, the crowd grateful to see humility and respect between two giants. Clint Eastwood responded with a modest smile. "Thank you, Mike. We all fight our battles differently, and every fight deserves respect. Whether it's in the ring or on the screen, it's about passion and heart." The mutual respect between the two men was palpable and heartwarming. The tension that had filled the room earlier was now replaced with camaraderie. Audience members began approaching the stage, eager to shake hands and express their admiration. Some shared personal stories about how Clint's films had impacted their lives, highlighting the emotional power of his work. In the background, social media exploded with clips of the exchange, sparking worldwide discussions. Fans debated the meaning of strength, the value of storytelling, and the power of humility. The moment transcended entertainment. It became a cultural event. Journalists and commentators praised Clint Eastwood for his ability to turn a potentially hostile situation into a powerful lesson. They applauded his unwavering poise and the depth of his response, noting that he had elevated the conversation beyond ego and bravado. Mike Tyson, too, was lauded for his sportsmanship and willingness to listen and learn. Many remarked on the surprising vulnerability he showed, acknowledging Clint's accomplishments in a genuine way. The event organizers approached both men with proposals for future collaborations, perhaps a documentary exploring the parallels between the battles of the boxing ring and the battles of storytelling. The idea excited both Clint and Mike, who saw potential in joining forces to inspire others. As the evening wound down, Clint Eastwood took a moment to address the audience one last time. "What we've seen here tonight is more than just a clash of personalities," he said. "It's a reminder that respect, understanding, and humility can bridge even the widest gaps." His words resonated deeply with everyone present. The crowd began to disperse slowly, buzzing with excitement and newfound appreciation for the two icons. Many left with a renewed sense of respect for the arts, sports, and the diverse ways in which people leave their mark on the world. Backstage, Clint and Mike shared a quiet moment, exchanging a firm handshake and a few words of mutual respect. It was a powerful image, two legends from different worlds united by a shared understanding of greatness. This event would go down in history as one of the most memorable exchanges between two titans, showing that true strength lies not just in power or fame, but in grace, humility, and the courage to stand tall with dignity. As the applause began to fade, Clint Eastwood took a moment to gather his thoughts, standing with the quiet dignity that had become his trademark. The room had witnessed something extraordinary, an exchange between two legends that transcended rivalry and ego, moving instead toward respect and understanding. Clint stepped forward to address the crowd one last time, his voice calm but filled with conviction. "Tonight, we saw more than just a disagreement between two men," he began. "We saw a lesson in humility, courage, and the power of storytelling." He looked out at the audience, many of whom were still visibly moved by what they had just experienced. Being just an actor is an understatement of what this profession, and the arts in general, can accomplish. Through film, we can explore the human condition, challenge injustices, and inspire change. That's a responsibility I've carried for many years. The crowd listened intently, hanging on every word. Clint continued, "Mike and I come from very different worlds, His is the world of physical combat, where strength and endurance define a man. Mine is the world of creativity, where emotion and vision build new realities. But both require passion, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. He paused briefly before adding, I have great respect for what Mike has achieved in the ring. His strength and determination are undeniable, and I'm grateful for this moment, a reminder that greatness can take many forms. As Clint spoke, Mike Tyson stood nearby, nodding with genuine appreciation. The boxer's usual intensity had softened, replaced by a humble acknowledgement of the depth of Clint's message. Clint then shifted his focus to a broader message. This encounter wasn't just about me or Mike. It's about respect. Respect for each other's paths, for our differences, and for the unique ways we contribute to this world. He looked directly into the camera, as if speaking to millions beyond the room. No one should be judged as just anything. Whether you're a fighter, an artist, a teacher, or a dreamer, your story matters. Your voice matters. The audience erupted in applause once again, moved by Clint's heartfelt words. Social media buzzed with clips of Clint's closing remarks, sharing his call for respect and unity across industries and cultures. Fans from around the world echoed the sentiment, praising the humility and wisdom displayed by both men. Behind the scenes, the event organizers praised Clint for turning what could have been a tense confrontation into a powerful moment of inspiration. Interviews flooded in, with reporters eager to discuss the broader implications of the exchange. Mike Tyson, meanwhile, spoke candidly in a post-event interview. Clint showed me that strength isn't just about what you can throw with your fists. It's about how you carry yourself, how you face challenges, and how you lift others up. I learned a lot tonight. The respect between Clint and Mike became the talk of the town, inspiring conversations about humility, greatness, and the importance of embracing diverse talents. Later that evening, Clint reflected on the experience. It's moments like these that remind me why I do what I do. Storytelling is powerful. It changes lives, builds empathy, and bridges divides. He smiled, adding, I'm proud to have shared this moment with Mike. Two different paths, one shared respect. The event closed on a high note, with both men receiving standing ovations. The audience left inspired, reminded that greatness is not confined to one arena, but flourishes wherever passion and dedication exist. This moment would be remembered not just as a clash between two legends, but as a celebration of the many forms greatness can take, a legacy of respect, humility, and shared humanity. The powerful encounter between Clint Eastwood and Mike Tyson didn't just end in that room. It exploded across social media and news platforms worldwide. Clips of their exchange, especially Clint's calm but commanding comeback, went viral within hours. Millions of people around the globe were captivated by how the legendary actor-director humbly yet firmly defended his legacy and silenced one of boxing's most feared champions. Hashtags like #RespectEastwood, #LegendClint, and #Power of Storytelling began trending worldwide. Fans praised Clint for showing that true strength is not just physical, but also rooted in wisdom, humility, and the ability to inspire others. Viewers admired how he transformed a potentially hostile confrontation into a masterclass in dignity and respect. The incident sparked widespread discussions. Articles and opinion pieces appeared in major media outlets debating what it really means to be great. Some highlighted the importance of storytelling and art in shaping society, while others focused on Tyson's gracious acceptance of Clint's points, praising both men's willingness to engage with respect and openness. Meanwhile, Clint Eastwood's message about the value of humility and recognizing the diversity of human achievement resonated deeply. His reminder that no one should be judged as just anything inspired many to reflect on their own judgments and biases. Mike Tyson himself spoke publicly about the encounter days later, expressing his newfound respect for Clint's craft and his own realization about the power of stories and creativity. Tyson's candid reflections endeared him further to fans, showing a side of the boxing legend rarely seen, a man willing to learn, grow, and embrace different perspectives. The impact of the event reached beyond just social media. It sparked a movement online encouraging people to celebrate all forms of greatness, whether in sports, arts, education, or everyday life. Inspirational quotes from Clint's speech were shared widely, and educators began incorporating the story into lessons about respect, perseverance, and the power of storytelling. Even entertainment and sports industries took note. Producers and promoters explored the idea of collaborations that could bring together athletes and artists to inspire future generations. The dialogue between Tyson and Eastwood opened new doors for conversations about cross-disciplinary respect and learning. In the days following, Clint Eastwood's fan base grew significantly, with new generations discovering his films and legacy through this viral moment. Meanwhile, Tyson's openness added layers to his public image, transforming a moment of tension into one of connection and mutual admiration. For Clint Eastwood, the incident reaffirmed why he has remained a respected figure for decades, not just because of his talents, but because of his integrity, humility, and ability to speak truth with grace. The event also served as a reminder that respect is earned not through dominance or harsh words, but through courage, empathy, and the willingness to stand for what's right without tearing others down. As millions around the world continue to share and discuss the story, Clint's final call to action echoes loud and clear. If you believe no one should be judged by appearance or dismissed as just something, type respect in the comments below and subscribe for more inspiring stories that celebrate true greatness. The legacy of this encounter isn't just a viral moment. It's a lasting lesson in respect, strength, and the power of telling your story.